Welcome. This is Kathy Davis at Davis Creative Publishing Partners. This is Inspiring Authors, and it's March, what day is it? March 18th, 2021. Today we'll be speaking with Richelle Wiseman. Before I introduce and welcome Rochelle, I just want to remind everybody of a few logistics. We're taking questions via chat today. So if you have a question, please type it into the chat, and we'll make sure that those get answered right away. The call is being recorded. You'll receive a link to the YouTube video in about 48 hours after the call. Your attendance at these meetings serves as your permission to be seen in the recordings. If you do not want to be seen, feel free to turn your camera off, which is in the lower left of your screen. Please also find your mute button and make sure you are muted. The chat button is in the bottom of your screen. If you run, it's a little bubble down at the very bottom. And we promise to end the call around noon or shortly thereafter so we can all get back to the business of the day. So again, I want to welcome everyone, especially our live audience, to the Davis Creative Publishing Partners Lunch and Learn. Our theme this year is Inspiring Authors, and each month we interview either an inspiring author or someone who can help inspire those authors. Please help me welcome Richelle Wiseman. Rochelle is a professional writer, editor, book coach. She writes content for marketing such as websites, blogs, lead generating PDFs, and marketing video scripts. She also coaches authors to write their books and then helps them publish and market them. She's been a journalist, a director of communications for several companies, and the executive director of a national nonprofit. In 1993, she started her own communications company, which she maintained even while working full-time for other companies and her nonprofit. Her passion now is to help people write their books by creating a strong outline. Rochelle just launched her online course, Accelerate Writing Your Business Book, Create a Story Arc Outline. This course is for entrepreneurs who want to write a book for their business to help them increase their authority, credibility, visibility, and profitability. That's a mouthful on a Thursday morning. So welcome, Rochelle. Thank you so much for taking the time to be with us today.
Thank you for inviting me.
Awesome. Some who may not know you, Rochelle, what part of Canada are you in?
I'm in Calgary, Alberta, so an hour from the gorgeous Rocky Mountains.
That's awesome. And you were talking about you have a new puppy also.
Yes, I have a 7-month-old border collie, and he's a bit like a ping pong ball, or yeah, like he's just bouncing all over everything, everywhere, all the time with energy that seems rather endless. And yeah, we're having fun training him, but he's very smart. And but yeah, I had a border collie before, and about a month into having this one, I was like, yeah, now I remember this. And
Yeah.
I was like quite a bit younger when I had the other one.
Exactly. Yeah, I always say this will be my last dog, and then I always get another one. But so Rochelle, let's jump right in here and share our conversation with our guests about your new online writing program. So tell me your definition of a writing coach. I get asked that quite a bit. What is a book coach? What is a writing coach from your perspective?
Well, I call myself a book coach because I really seek to serve people that are interested in writing and completing a book and actually getting it published. So one of the statistics that really stuck in my head when I heard it was that 75% of people say they want to write a book. 4% actually do. So I'm looking for the 4%ers that are serious about writing a book. And I like to coach them with the whole book. In other words, creating the outline, creating that writing schedule that's reasonable for their lifestyle, and then being their accountability partner to keep them on track. Of course, things have to be adjusted here and there. The outline always shifts around, but you have to start with something. And then once the book is on its way, I'm editing it as we go. And then when it's done, well before it's done, we talk about the options for publishing, self-publishing, hybrid publishing, traditional publishing, or just putting it up on Amazon all by yourself, and the different realities that those involved, and the different amounts of money and the different results that come with each of those choices. So we go through that process, and then I help them as well with marketing the book.
So it sounds to me like no matter where an author is in their process, you know, whether they just have an idea or whether they kind of have a brain dump in a Word document, that you
Mhm.
can step in at that point and then help them figure out where they want to go and then help
Mhm.
them get there.
Yes, absolutely. And I'm a big believer in the outline. That's why my first course is about creating a very particular kind of outline.
What is
Because
I'm sorry to interrupt, but you're probably going to
so
go here anyway with the story arc.
yeah, so the outline is if you can think about trying to build a house without blueprints, you know, trying to start writing a book without an outline is pretty much that wacky. You know, you don't know where you're going. Is this just going to be a stream of consciousness book that just, you know, whatever pops into your head that day goes into the book? Or are you going to actually have a plan that helps you write with clarity and confidence? And so when I started coaching people that specifically were interested in writing a book for their business, I had also been taking courses from Donald Miller, who is a marketing guru who came out with a blockbuster book called The Story Brand. And he applies the story brand to all marketing content. And so, because I have one foot in the book world and one foot in the marketing world, I thought, hey, this would work for writing a book for your business. You know, any nonfiction book, this would work. So, what the story arc outline is it's a frame of mind that the writer has, in that they are the guide and that the reader is the character. So just a tiny little vignette that will help you wrap your head around this. Hollywood movies follow the story arc outline. Most of them do. And essentially, if you think about the very first movie in the Star Wars series of movies, the first one was Luke Skywalker. He's the main character. He has internal problems. He doesn't know who he is. He doesn't know if he's a Jedi. He has external problems, i.e. the Empire, who killed his parents, or so he thought. And of course, Darth Vader is the villain in the story. So along comes the guide. The guide in that movie is Obi-Wan Kenobi. Obi-Wan Kenobi has authority. He's a Jedi, and he is a trainer of Jedis, and he knew Luke Skywalker's parents. So he has empathy for the main character. He understands his problems, and he has a way to solve the problems. So he teaches Luke Skywalker how to use the lightsaber, because he's going to need that to fight the Empire. And he teaches him how to use the Force, because he's going to need that too. So he gives him a plan, and he coaches and trains him so that Luke Skywalker follows the plan of the guide and is successful. He becomes a very good Jedi. He defeats the Empire, and he has to confront the villain, of course, which goes on with the rest of the series. But the point is, if you're writing a book for your business or writing a nonfiction book, and you put yourself into the frame of mind that I'm not the hero in this book. This book is not about me, the writer. I'm not showing off how much I know, my education, blah, blah. No, I am writing this book for the character. And I need to know who that main character is, my avatar, if you will. I need to know their internal problems, their emotional problems, their external problems. What kinds of things are holding your character back? And what do you have as that authoritative, empathetic guide to give to your character to help them through those problems and to succeed at becoming the hero or the heroine of their own story? And that's a way to create the book's outline and to make sure that you are capturing that reader's attention from the beginning to the end, because you are truly writing the book for the reader. And that makes a huge difference.
So it sounds like part of what your process involves is also helping the author perhaps identify that reader and what that reader is looking for. What is their
Exactly.
motivation? Yeah.
That's huge, is understanding your reader
Hmm.
and sort of asking yourself, who is looking for my book right now? What are their needs? What is their demographic? Why are they looking for my book?
Hmm.
What is it about my book that is going to appeal to them? And what are their pain points? What are their struggles? What are the obstacles that are in the way of their success that you can address, and you have something to offer, so that you have, the book has a promise. This is really a big deal, especially when you go to name your book. The title gives the book what your book is about. The subtitle of a book is the promise of the book. What is your reader going to experience? What transformation will that reader experience by the end of the book? So, really understanding your reader, what their problems are, what you have to offer, and the transformation your reader will have is what's going to make your book stand out as a good book, even a great book, as opposed to a ho-hum mediocre book.
Right. I know one of the words I use a lot around here is, what's your relief? What's in it for the reader? What are
Mhm.
they looking for? And so does my storyline, does my story arc, does my outline, does it change depending on the type of book that I'm writing, whether it's nonfiction, novel, or memoir?
It would change a little bit with a memoir, because a memoir is really, a lot of it is dictated by the portion of your life that you're focusing on. So,
Mhm.
unlike an autobiography, which is like you were born here and it's the entire
Mhm.
life story, right? A memoir is more of a snapshot of your life, a period of life that's honing in on a specific experience or set of experiences. For instance, okay, so it was when you got breast cancer and that whole journey of the breast cancer and treatment and survival of breast cancer, or it's the loss of a child, or it's a divorce, or it's going bankrupt, or whatever that piece of life is, that's going to have a lot to do with how the story is shaped. But what doesn't change is your attitude to the reader as the writer, that you want the reader to have an experience in your book. If it's a memoir, you still have that view that the story is about you, yes, but really it's still about the reader.
Mhm.
What is it about your life experience and your knowledge and your wisdom that you gained from your experience that you can now offer to the reader?
Does this apply also to children's books? Perhaps books that are under 50 pages?
If it's written for adults, yes. Children, it's a very different thing, because you're trying to dial into the way that children look at the world. For their life experience is, of course, much narrower,
Mhm.
and how they process information and how much the visuals in the book have to match and enhance the text. So it's a different process, I would say, for children's books, but you still want the child reader to identify in some way with that character. And children are very empathetic. They understand pain, challenge, and difficulty in other people, characters,
Mhm.
animal characters, if they love animal characters. So you're still operating with some of the same tools, you just dial it in a little differently for children.
You still have a beginning, middle, and end, and you probably still have a main character and a hero animal, and yeah.
Yeah. And the hero has to come out winning at the end of the book, of course.
Mhm. I think that's why I like kids' movies so well, because it's an easy read, it's an easy view. The
Mhm.
So what are the benefits of, to me as an author, what are the benefits for me having a strong outline?
So for some people, writing the outline is the hardest part of writing the book, because you're laying down that framework that's going to guide every chapter, and it's going to guide you from the beginning to the end. If you don't invest time in that, you're going to be spending extra time sorting out the order of your content, which order the chapters come in, and you'll end up having to do a lot more rewriting if you don't have a strong outline. So it's really a good investment of your time and your creativity and your expertise to spend that time up front with creating the good outline, and it will save you time in the writing process.
So just think it through. Where are you now? Where do you want to be? What's the point you're going to make here? Yeah.
Exactly.
So tell us a little bit about this course that you developed, and how did you formulate your course in order to meet the needs of what you saw was what you call the pain point out in the community of authors?
So it was really inspired by working with entrepreneurs that were writing books for their business. And these are people that did not really, initially consider themselves to be writers. Their expertise is in whatever it is that their business is, but they felt they wanted a book to enhance their business, to grow their business, get more stages for speaking, more clients, and just have that authority and that credibility that a book brings. But they really struggled with figuring out, well, I know I have content and I don't know how to even start a book. So the course was birthed out of that need to even understand, how do you formulate the ideas that are going to work in a book, and how do you craft those into the outline? And I've worked now with several authors who've done these books and who believe they have a much stronger book because of having the stronger outline.
Mm-hmm.
So it's worth trying to do it right the first time. We were talking actually before we went live here, Kathy and I were talking about, people often write their first book and then they make a bunch of mistakes and think, okay, my next book, I'm not going to do that again. I'm going to do this.
Mm-hmm.
So your first book is sort of your training ground and your learning opportunity to make the second book better. And so what I'm hoping to do with this outline is have better books on the first crack.
So I do want to remind everybody, if you have questions, to please drop them into your chat box and we'll make sure we get to those. And then I'm going to circle back to the name of your online course is Accelerate Writing Your Business Book. So I encounter authors occasionally who I with every author that we work with, we offer a Q&A. And it's kind of like an entry, what's your name, what's your address, those kinds of things. Every now and then we'll have an author that, kind of panics when they hear the word Q&A, afraid it looks like a test. So tell me how, as you were developing your online course, how did you make it user friendly? How does it even address for those people who are afraid of, answering Q&As, whether it's in person or online? And what are the benefits of working through your online course versus one-on-one with you, or vice
Well,
versa?
in my course, you get to do both because my
Awesome.
course includes 2 one-on-one coaching calls with me, and it also includes a weekly Facebook Live group coaching session that you can drop into if you want. So there's lots of interface with me, and that's really important because people end up having questions and going, well, okay, but my book is really weird and different, and I don't know how this works with my book, and blah, 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 right? But the course is 4 modules with 4 lessons in each module. So there's 16 lessons. Each lesson has a video. And then there are downloadable worksheets and materials to go through in addition to that. And by the end of the course, you have your outline done. So there's an actual tangible product for you that's the outcome of taking the course.
So once I have that outline from the course, then you're available to help me fill in the blanks and fill in my outline Would that be the next step after I go and get my outline in hand?
Yes, absolutely. If you're interested in working with me as a book coach, we can work together, take your outline and flesh it out into a great book.
So it also sounds like the author would have the option that if they feel comfortable in finishing it themselves, that's an option for them to go
Of
ahead.
course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. No, that's awesome. Yeah. And then are there particular books that are more adaptable to this type of online workshop? Or is this a applicable to whether I'm writing a novel or a nonfiction or um, a memoir?
It's less applicable to a novel because the elements in a novel are not just about the main story. The thrust of the story isn't just taking one character through the storyline. In a novel, you have multiple characters and you have subplots, and you have to have rising and falling tension and suspense. So there's a bunch of other layers that go into a great novel that this course doesn't cover because it's more focused on a nonfiction book.
Gotcha. Yeah, no, that makes sense. Perfect sense. Let me check so one of our questions that we have from Richard, have you ever worked with an author that used an influencer with thousands of followers within their books to target audiences to launch or increase sales?
You mean an author that is best friends with Tony Robbins or something like that?
Let me, Richard, let me unmute you. Go ahead and unmute yourself. Go ahead.
No, what I'm talking about is one of the books of mine that I'm working on is a shopping guide for women to complete to give to their husbands. My niece writes for a major fashion magazine, and there's all these young women that are influencers that have major thousands of followers. And I was thinking, if I would send them the book, has anybody ever done that with one of these major influencers? Some of these young ladies sell for Revlon and make thousands of dollars and have hundreds of thousands of followers. So I was wondering if that's something you've ever heard of anyone using as a possible way of launching or increasing sales.
Oh, for sure. I mean, for marketing, that's golden. If you have access to influencers and then you actually have access to their followers on social media, or if they're in a magazine or whoever it is, however they get in front of people, that's dynamite.
Okay.
And if you have that, you leverage that to the max to market your book. You try and get an endorsement from them that you put on the back cover or in the inside pages, people say about my book, blah, blah, blah. And so you leverage those relationships in any way that you can.
Okay, thank you.
Awesome. Great question. I know we work with a lot of speakers who are authors, speakers. Let's see, Richard, if you muted yourself. Thank you. Thank you. And I'm kind of looking around the people that are here. We have trainers and business owners and leadership coaches and a few people I'm not sure, but they, one thing that I see that we all have in common on this call is we have an audience and we are looking to, hi Pat, thanks for coming today. And we're all looking to reach that audience and help that audience find the relief that they're looking for. And it sounds to me that like a great place to start is with that outline in the book. I see somebody in the waiting room. Let me just quickly see who that might be. There we go. So want to make sure, remind everybody, please drop your questions into the chat. And so how long would it typically take someone to go through your online outline course?
Of course, depending on how much time they have, it would take probably 2 weeks, maybe 3. if they're doing, you know, one module a week, 4 lessons, and the videos are quite short,
Mhm.
but they include a lot of visual material that will help understand the concepts and the principles, and then you get a chance to actually do the work with the worksheets that is going to help you actually create that outline.
So yeah, so maybe, you know, an hour or two a week is what it sounds like possibly for commitment.
Maybe 2 or 3 if you wanted to do one module per week. I mean, the other thing is, I mean, when I interviewed one woman, and she had already done a book, and she told me that it took her 4 months to create her outline. And when I heard her say that, I thought, yikes, that's a long time to
Yeah.
spend on your outline. And so the goal is to create a strong outline that's going to capture people's attention and hold it from the beginning to the end.
Mhm.
And if you're clear about who that character is, you're clear about who you are, what your authority is, and what you have to offer, and you put those two things together with this format of an outline, you will be surprised at how much quicker you will write the outline and the book.
Well, it gives you a path to follow, definitely, so that if you're not sure what to do next, and I hear that a lot from authors who are trying to write by themselves, is I'm just not sure where to go next. I've done this brain dump. Now what do
Mhm.
I do? So I think it's definitely filling a gap out there that I've seen. So we are getting close to ending the call, and I do want to make sure that everybody gets a chance to ask their question. We've had a few people asking for the link. We will send out an email tomorrow within the next 48 hours that has how to contact Rochelle, the link to her online course. And I understand you also have a gift for the guests today.
I do, and so I'm just going to put that in the chat as well. It's called 7 Steps to Take Before You Write Your Business Book.
And we'll include that in our email that goes out. And actually,
Right.
Julie's on the call now, and if Julie has a chance to post that link, that would be great too. We can get that in the chat. I know, there we go. You're quick, Rochelle.
Mhm.
Yeah, awesome. Just making sure we got everybody. There we go. Awesome. Right in there. So I want to thank everybody. I know a couple of you were not able to get in until late in the call. So if you have any questions, please reach out directly to Rochelle or myself. We'll be happy to answer those questions. I loved having you here with us today, Rochelle. It's given us a new perspective on perhaps an easy path to how to write our book. And next month, we will be welcoming Amy Collins. She's with New Shelves Books. She's a book agent as well as a self-publishing consultant. She's very well known in the self-publishing, independent publishing industry, and be giving us a perspective not only on how to work with an agent, but how to, what's the benefit of working with an agent when seeking out a publisher. So that's next month in April. I appreciate everyone being here, and be watching for the email that has all of Richelle Wiseman's information. Rochelle, thank you so much for being with us today.
Well, thank you, all of you, for being here, and thank you for your questions.
Yeah.
And good luck with all of your books.
Thank you so much, Rochelle. We'll be in touch.
Okay.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.